Hi, how's it going? Hi. I'm late today, but here I am, Benjamin Yoder, on Monday, recording on Monday this time because, hey, I was out of town. I don't remember if I gave any sort of heads up on that, but I ended up going out of town over the weekend, so I didn't get to record on the usual weekend time. So here I am, 2:30 p.m. on a Monday, recording this now, but it's a holiday, so that means I can just go ahead and do this without having to wait till I get home from work or something. I went to Florida to see some family for a little bit, but I wanted to talk about something. This is a weird topic, maybe. I wanted to talk about the video games at the Epcot Center at Disney World. So I went to Disney World. I don't really care about Disney, so it was kind of a thing that I'm like, I don't know if I'm going to get anything out of this other than I'm just going to exist, I guess, while I get dragged around by the rest of my family. But there were these like, so you go basically, and maybe this is super common knowledge, I don't know, it was my first time to go to Disney World. I've never really looked into Disney World stuff, but you basically would go on like a ride, and at the end of the ride there'd be like a little center, and that center would have stuff to do, and I think a couple of them have video game kind of things. There's one at like I think it was like this whole ride that basically went through human history kind of thing, and at the end they're like you're putting like fleshy body parts on a person, and I found that terrifying, so I didn't do it. It just looked so disgusting because you're basically like assembling a human, and it's not super graphic, but I don't know, like the guy starts growing blood vessels and stuff into his skeleton. I'm like, ugh, I don't want to see this. But there's the space travel thing. So basically there's like one where you basically simulate a space mission kind of thing, and it's like super, super dumbed down. It's like, hey, what if you basically play Dragon's Lair, but you press two buttons? Well, you're the group of four, and everybody press two buttons, and then you do a couple quick time events where it's like, hey, we're launching, press these things to start certain sequences. Oh no, we're coming down to land bad. Press your other button to help with the landing, like the emergency landing sequence, and then they're like, pull right, pull left, pull up, pull down, or push down. I don't know if there's even a lose scenario, to be honest. It might just not be, but hey, it's a ride. There's like a bunch of buttons on the screen, but none of them seem to do anything. It's weird. Up on the like panel. Whole thing is like, it's supposed to be like this, like, you're shaking around and the pod is tilting in a way to make you feel like you're doing things. Anyways, that part of the ride's kind of bad, boring, maybe. It was like the green level one. There's like a green and an orange level. I don't know if the orange level one is any like more complicated or anything like that, but I think I would prefer something more complicated, but hey, whatever. Anyways, so you get down there and you get like to the end part, and there's like a few mini games. There's like this one kind of weird one where it's like these big monitors that show like your ship health, and there's probably like 20 to 40 like control panel things where you go and you basically solve puzzles to send supplies to another set of controls that are in the front for both ships. So you have like 4 people in the front on each side, and then everyone behind you sending supplies to those people, and the people on the front sit there and like grab the supplies and repair parts of the ship just by like grabbing these little color orbs and then throwing them in the part of the ships that are affected. It was strangely like elaborate of like, oh, we're expecting you to have like, at least 5-10 people working on this thing to get it working. And we're doing it Memorial Day weekend, so it was pretty busy, but nobody really seemed to be doing it. So me and my, I guess his brother-in-law married my sister, tried for a while, and it was just like, it just wasn't coming together. There's no way you could repair the ship fast enough with me, him, and like, there were just like 2 people that were randomly playing, maybe not even understanding the concept of what was happening. So that was kind of weird. But the other interesting thing was there's just like astronaut rescue mission kind of thing, and you like jetpack around Mars, and it's basically just like a 3D platformer with a little astronaut man. And it's super easy. There's like an easy, medium, and hard difficulty. And but was really kind of neat, and it was neat mainly because it was kind of janky. Well, it's like you basically have this big joystick that you're moving to move the astronaut around in this 3D space, and you could use your jetpack. But when you landed on the jetpack, when you landed on the ground and then you shot your jetpack, it seems like it gave you too much like horizontal momentum at times, so it just kind of launched you off the ground sometimes, depending on like the I think the slope of the ground. And so you could sit there and just like tap on the ground over and over again and build up a ton of speed and go flying off. It was pretty silly. The game itself was pretty straightforward of just, hey, platform through this area and rescue the astronaut, and then your guy does like a little dance and you rescue like 4 astronauts or something like that. And so yeah, it was a little weird thing. It's just weird to think about like going to Disney, like I'm just gonna go play these weird video games somebody made. Like who made that astronaut game? Who knows? Like I assume you have a game developer who worked on it. It's I'm sure it's nothing big, but I don't know. I don't know. It was powered by HP, so maybe HP did it. I don't know. I'm sure they just provided the hardware. Although my monitor was a little messed up, so great showcase. I'm sure nobody at Disneyland has reported that issue to HP. so yeah, that was a weird thing. Otherwise, I don't want to talk about Disney World too much. I just kind of was around. It was more the educational side of the park, it sounds like, so that was probably more interesting to me. Again, I don't really like Disney. Part of the reason why I don't really like Kingdom Hearts that much, or maybe I shouldn't say don't like Kingdom Hearts, but like just don't have a affinity for it really. I like Mulan a little bit, but anyways, that was that. But I did play a lot of video games on the trip. In terms of just like on the plane and stuff. I spent more time with the Xenoblade Chronicles 2. I'm sorry, that video is not done yet. I promise it's getting there. Which I'm just doing more post-game content in that game. I really wish I could spend more time with Xenoblade Chronicles 2, but I just don't think it's gonna happen. But I did on the plane just because whatever. And it's just a lot of like little grindy things I have to do to go forward from here on out, but it just takes time. I think I could probably put another like 20-30 hours into that game without buying into the additional DLC content that's been coming out. But we'll see. At least so far, I've been playing it often enough that it's pretty easy to just kind of pick up and put back down. But it's one of those games with a pretty complicated battle system, so I would worry that if I put it down for 6 months and came back, that I might have trouble getting back into it. But I don't know. At the same time, it's complicated but straightforward. Is kind of interesting. It's not like a Star Ocean 3 where if I go back and try to play that game, I'm like, I have no idea how any of this works anymore, and can't even get through a single fight. But yeah. And then I decided I'm gonna beat Penny Punchy Princess, so I've been putting a lot of time into that. I've kind of have a better opinion on it now because mainly because they introduced a new character who I think plays a lot better than the original princess character. The original princess character is very close range to the extent that it's very difficult to navigate around and evade enemies and stuff, which seems super important in this game. She has only the ability to use her calculator once every once in a while. The new character can basically use the calculator 5 times in a row before it has to be used, or before you have to recharge it. It seems kind of crazy, just how much better this other character seems to be. I'm sure the princess herself has a lot, or has some sort of benefit to her, but for my playstyle at least, I'm finding the second girl to be a lot more effective. So I think I'm at the end of that game. I think chapter 6 might be the last chapter. I could be wrong. I really have no idea. I don't know. It's hard because the chapter 5, they're like, hey, this is the last boss, this is the final boss fight, and then they kind of just ignore the fact that it was that, and then just go straight into chapter 6 and start doing some chapter 6 stuff. And I'm like, all right, I guess we're still going. But we'll see. Hopefully it's not too much longer. I'm ready to be done with that game and kind of send it back, I think. I guess I'll probably try to write something about it. I'll try to write a review or something. So maybe I don't really have super strong feelings about it. So that always worries me when I write a review. And it's like, I don't have super strong feelings about it. So it just kind of comes out as like, yeah, this is a video game. You could play it if you want. so I don't have anything specifically special to say about it, I don't think. But hey, you know. And then the last thing, and probably the biggest thing for me, was I started playing more Monster Hunter Worlds again, or Stories again. Monster Hunter Stories, not Monster Hunter Worlds. I have not played any more Monster Hunter Worlds. Monster Hunter Stories, which I don't remember. I probably have mentioned it on the podcast at some point that I had started it briefly. But this was the first time I really invested a lot of time in Monster Hunter Stories. I probably put a good, I don't know, probably a good like 6 hours into it during the trip. And I am liking it a lot more than I thought I would. Monster Hunter Stories, if you don't know, is like a pretty straightforward. I don't know. Straightforward is not the right word. It's actually not straightforward at all. It's a JRPG Monster Hunter. So basically, they take all the visual aesthetics of Monster Hunter, all these mechanics, you know, the collecting of items and stuff, and like crafting, you know, potions and things like that. Pretty much all these mechanics from Monster Hunter, particularly like the more user management side of Monster Hunter, and put those into a JRPG that's kind of plays more like a Pokemon kind of game. Basically, you do these like little mini dungeons to collect eggs, and then you can hatch those eggs. And there are some mini game elements to hatching the eggs, but it's not like Spectropes where it's like this big, long, complicated process. It's pretty much you get the egg, you tap the egg, and if you tap certain parts on the egg, it will get certain stat boosts. But it's kind of randomized, which I don't like. So it's like you can't really choose what kind of stat boost you're getting, because it's just kind of like you're just poking around the egg trying to find the next boost. So it seems better to just sit there and press the A button and let it randomly click around the egg anyways. But it's pretty quick and short. I think it's a long process to go from doing the dungeon to getting the egg to bring it back to town to hatching it. But it's a lot more involving in terms of like these dungeons have materials in them, and you know you can fight monsters in there. And when you get to the actual egg, there's a bunch of materials around the egg. You can decide if you want to collect those materials or just get the egg and leave, you know, to try to avoid the monster. There's a lot more to that whole process than just, you know, I have to do all this to get the Pokemon I want, essentially. And then you can find rare monster dens and stuff that are gold, and you might spend more time, you know, digging into those. And you can also kind of choose what kind of monster you want to get by essentially, like, if you find a monster you want on the overworld, you can fight them in a way that causes them to retreat, and then you can chase them to their monster den and then steal their eggs, essentially. So it's got a lot of neat little mechanics to it. And then the combat system's basically a rock, paper, scissors system. You have a power, speed, and tech style attack, and depending on what you choose and which the enemy uses, you'll either come out, you know, doing more or having more of an advantage. You get basically, if you do, you know, choose the right one, you get these kinship points, which essentially act as your MP. And once you're full, you can actually ride your monster to do like special attacks and stuff. But it's surprisingly deep, and I think what I like a lot about it is the visual style is very different from Monster Hunter, but the animations and like the spirit behind those animations are still there in a way I think almost fit Monster Hunter better. I will say this, I've never been a fan of the Monster Hunter style. I always thought the games kind of looked ugly. And, you know, I will say I'm not a big fan of, like, kind of just Western-looking fantasy kind of stuff. And Monster Hunter has this very plain Western-looking fantasy look to me. It has its own unique style, I will say that. Like, if you see a Monster Hunter game, you can tell it's a Monster Hunter game. I won't deny that. But it does come off as just, like, kind of looking to me. That's probably just, like, a completely subjective thing of just, you know, what you prefer the game to look like. But I really like little cute little characters in the 3DS one. It's just a shame it's not on a platform that runs at a higher resolution, because Monster Hunter Stories looks great. But it only looks great on that tiny little screen. There is an iOS port actually that I've always been interested in, and I hope that like gets ported to other platforms at some point. You know, I'd love to see Monster Hunter Stories on the Switch or on a PS4 or on a Xbox One or PC even. I mean, like I don't know like how often Capcom ports their mobile games to other platforms per se. But I would like to see that game show up on other platforms where it can really shine. Not that like graphically it will look like a 3DS game, and it, you know, that's fine. But it has that Mega Man Legends style where even though the polygon count's kind of low and like the resolution of the texture is kind of low, it has a really clean look to it that scales really well to higher resolutions. And I just like, I don't know, I just love the look and feel of the characters, and it's a shame that I can't like get decent screenshots of it. I took some pictures on my phone that I posted on Twitter the other day. But I mean, that's just not a great way to do that. I don't know. I can't remember how the screenshot feature works on the 3DS, but I think you have to get it out of Miiverse. I don't think you can easily just take a picture and then put it on like an SD card or something. I'll have to see if there's any other options, but I think that is the case, that the Miiverse was required for that, and now that Miiverse is gone, you can't just, you know, take pictures, upload them to Miiverse, then copy those pictures from Miiverse and then bring them over to the PC. So if I write an article, I either have to just get some, you know, some standard promotional screenshots or just take pictures of my phone. I don't have a capture card I don't have a capture unit for 3DS, which is a shame, but that's also expensive. Someday I should probably look into it. I mean, being able to capture DS and 3DS is probably really valuable. DS and 3DS. I think I said DS and DS. It's probably a very valuable thing to have, but I just got done spending a ton of money getting my component capture stuff up to speed, and all that stuff. You know, my GameCube to do HDMI output, and, you know, buying that SD card reader so I can use Game Boy interface and all that stuff. I need to take a break from trying to get, you know, get some video from all these platforms that I have. You know, there's always problems to solve with that stuff, unfortunately, and it always just equals more and more money. So, like, I will sit there and tell you that, like, over the years, I've definitely appreciated a nicer, cleaner video signal with that stuff. But at the end of the day, if I have the game on screen for myself, I'm pretty much fine if it's playable. That's the problem with my TV, is that 480i is not playable on my HD TV. I have to use a different monitor or upscaler to clean it up first. But at the end of the day, I'll play whatever, kind of however. It definitely appreciate it looking nicer, but that's more for capturing, more for, you know, you guys. I want it to look as best as I can for you guys. And it just makes it look more professional in general, I guess. Speaking of which, I've been going through a lot of old articles and stuff. You know, it's getting kind of late, so I'm going to skip the fortune cookie this week. So just to kind of like, give some more updates on the website. I'm still working on that stuff, but so what I've been doing since I've kind of set the general website feel and tone is just kind of updating old articles and getting them up to speed. And I've actually been kind of surprised by both the quality of some of the work I've done, and then also, well, by the quality of some of the work I've done in terms of the good and bad. You know, I've definitely looked at some stuff pre-2013. It was like, holy crap, that is awful. And I'm thinking a lot of that pre-2013 content's not going to be cleaned up for at least the launch. But I also have really come to appreciate some of the later work I've done that I felt bad about at the time. But when I go back and read and listen to it with fresh ears or, you know, fresh eyes, I'm actually kind of impressed. And maybe this sounds like me, you know, gloating about myself. I would say I'm a person that gives myself a hard time a lot of time when it comes to getting stuff done. And so I guess maybe it's kind of refreshing for me to say, you know, I'm looking at this stuff and a lot of it's good, I think, which is something that I've had a hard time saying in the past about a lot of my content. Even when I do well, I just see everything awful about it. So every time I put an article out, I'm like, oh, that was the worst article I've done ever, and worst video I've done. But like getting able to go back and just kind of look at everything and like, see the progression over the years, I've actually kind of really appreciated, cleaning stuff up for this website and being able to kind of take a second look at everything and feel better about it. I really hope going forward things continue to be good. I know right now it's kind of slow and dry as I finish this stuff up. But I am hoping very soon to hopefully have some decent content for you guys. So I am getting there though with the website. I think I'm closer to finishing it up than further. So once I've done that, I will let you guys know, and we'll go ahead and try to see if we can get some stuff going. Stuff going on that website, and I'll share it and put it on the blog. I do know some people, and I remember this from the past when like Go Nintendo switched their website design and stuff like that. I know some people do prefer like a blog style setup, so I'm gonna try my best to kind of facilitate that. It may not be quite exactly the same. It might be more like a list of posts that have come out recently, rather than like something that you can just read the first paragraph. I mean, you can still read the first paragraph and stuff, but it might be a little different in terms of how it's displayed, or it will probably be very different. I'm still looking into seeing if I can get more of just like, here's a page to look at if you just want the blog version of this page. But for right now, it's probably going to be like a section of the site that you can go to, and it will just basically include all my articles and in chronological order, so you can see when that stuff pops up. But we'll see. I'm still trying to figure out what's going on with it. But yeah, I hope it's good. I hope it's good. I hope you guys like it. I will be open for feedback and stuff once it's up and posted. But let me know, and we'll keep going. I think for me though, I mean, like, I'm the one who probably mainly uses my website as is. And a lot of it is just trying to organize a lot of stuff, making sure that stuff doesn't just get flooded off the front page. I like the idea of a lot of my old articles being kind of resurfaced at times, so you can look at it if you didn't see it in the past, or if you missed it or something like that. If you see, my dumb opinion on Valkyria Revolution in the corner and you didn't read it before, there it is. You might be able to pique your interest and read it. So we'll see. I want more lifetime to some of these articles, especially with how much work it takes to get some of them done, especially the videos. But I'm just going through, making sure that the stuff that does resurface is of a quality level that people should enjoy. I'm gonna definitely plan to update all the stuff in the past at some point. So like, you can go back and read my Star Ocean 3 review from forever ago. That was pretty bad. But that stuff's probably not going to be surfaced on its own. You'll probably have to find it yourself on my website. Just search Star Ocean or something, and I'll feel terrible about everything. So, yeah, I guess that's going to do it for this week. So thanks for listening. And we'll see where we go. I missed streaming last week too, so apologies for that if you're looking for that. I almost streamed, but then kind of lost. I had an idea for streaming and then realized I could not fulfill that idea within the time frame I had. So I decided not to do it. But this week we'll start with Full Spectrum Warrior, and we'll see how that goes. I think that game's like 8 to 10 hours long, so hopefully it won't feel like as forever as Thousand Arms. So there will be no dating in Full Spectrum Warrior, though, I'll warn you. We're not dating any military men. I mean, I can definitely roleplay them. You get a Discord noise there. Let me quiet down that Discord. But yeah, that's it for this week. Thanks. You guys have a good time. Have a good week. Bye.